Well, hello, Lionesses. How are you? Welcome to this week's edition of Unstoppable Lionesses. How are all of you doing this beautiful Friday? This week is just moi. Okay. You just have me. I don't have a guest this week. And I believe that that was just kind of orchestrated and ordained seriously based on the topic that the Lord has given me to discuss with you this week. And it's a topic that He has been dealing with me vehemently, I want to say, over the past few years, actually. And it is something that is part of my passion. It is my passion for you. It is my passion for what I embrace as far as identity is concerned. Okay. I value me. I do. And I can't say that that's always been true. All right. Now you're going to see me kind of looking around because I got notes and everything here that I want to make sure that I stay on point with. And then you know me, I'm a revelatory teacher. All right. And so as God gives me downloads, then I share the downloads in the midst of the teaching. But he did give me some framework to work within. And the title of our session tonight is the value of your uniqueness. The value of your uniqueness. I talk about uniqueness a lot and I talk about value a lot. And that's because, like I said, it is part of my passion. I am a firm believer that when we're walking in our purpose, everything around us will have a certain core to it. All right. And for me, I know that my assignment, my ultimate assignment is helping people understand their identity in just their core being, who they are, their identity and who they are as being children of the Most High. Because as you all know, I am a woman of faith, and I believe in the not a supreme being, but the creator of the universe, of the cosmos, not just the universe that we know, but of the cosmos, of the multiple universes that are out there. And when that's another thing of my passion, because when we stop relegating him to the term God, relegating him to our finite thought pattern, how we can perceive him, and we take the limits off, it really, really opens up multiple layers of mystery and dynamics of where we are and who we are. So I'm going to explain that in a moment. I'm passionate about the topic tonight because if you learn and really, really understand your value and how your value is equated within your unique being, who God created you to be, you will. And I promise you this is the honest to God truth. You will never, ever again in life allow anybody, I don't care who it is, mama, daddy, spouse, okay, children, boss, the Joe Blow on the street. I don't care who it is, the president, whoever it is, okay? I don't care who it is. You will never again allow anyone to devalue who God created you to be. Never again. Never again. But it starts with your valuing yourself. It starts with, who is this in here? Who is this that looks back at me when I look in the mirror every morning? When I go brush my teeth and wash my face, the person that I see, my reflection, who is that? Do I like that person? Do I value that person? Do I see the beauty and the valor, not just value, but valor of that person? Do I see the excellence that that person carries? Do I see the weight of God's glory on that person? That's all part of the perception of who you are and what kind of value you place on yourself. It's vital. It's vital to understand how valuable you truly are because you carry yourself totally different. You're not arrogant, but there is such a profound aura of confidence because you know who you are. You know what you carry, and nobody can ever take that away from you. So again, when you recognize and you understand your worth and your own value, which is tied to your uniqueness, nobody will ever again be allowed, okay? Because you allow people into your space to devalue you. You allow yourself to devalue you. It's a choice. But once you have established who you are, choice has already been made. And I promise you, you will not, I'm going to say that one more time, you will not allow anyone or anything, any entity, any authoritative whatever to devalue you because they can't take away from you who God made you to be. You are who you are because of who he made you to be. Okay? All right. That's my opening. And I'm sitting there thinking right now, I'm thinking about Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert and Seth Meyers and all of these people, right? This is where I get my news half the time. But all of these people that give their monologue. So I guess that was my monologue for opening up the show today. All right. It's totally centered in value. Now, I think to really understand from that perspective, from the perspective of value, we have to understand the word. All right. I've always loved words. And when I was in school, English was my favorite subject. Maybe that's why I have 8 books. But, I did not understand why I was so drawn to words. I did not at that point in time understand the power that words possess. The power that words possess. And you need to recognize and understand that that power can go either way. It can be a power that builds you and makes you, as the show is called, unstoppable. Oh, I didn't put my banner back there, huh? That's okay. I'm good today. I'm gonna just be the lioness tonight. How about that? Um, it it takes on a whole new perception when you understand the power of words. Okay. I can take my time since it's just me, all right? Um, when I was a teenager, words came into my life that were meant to destroy me. And I don't even know if the people that were speaking the words really understood the power of the words. All they were doing was speaking basically, I guess, what they felt or how they perceived me. Thank you, Holy Spirit. They were speaking how they perceived me. And because of their perception of me without knowing situations, without knowing circumstances, without knowing anything about what I was walking through at that point in time, their words brought a lesser value to my life. All right. I want to take my time with this point because I believe that there is a lot of you out there that have experienced something similar to that. That somebody said something to you in your youth, maybe a teacher, maybe a sibling, um, maybe some other authoritative person. I've heard horror stories of things that were encountered even in the church by children. And we haven't crossed over into the physical aspect of it yet. Just in the words, that were spoken to a child, or spoken over a child, that caused that child to see themselves through a clouded lens. Maybe you were one of those. Maybe you were one of those children that something was said, something was spoken. Spoken. Well, we're going to get to the physical, but spoken, these words over you, and it caused you to devalue yourself. Now, all of us, we deal with trauma. We deal with situations and circumstances in totally different ways. Part of our uniqueness, part of what makes us who we are. Most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, when you encounter traumatic experiences that speak to your worth, all right? This is what we're talking about tonight, the value of your uniqueness. When you experience traumatic situations and circumstances that traumatize you to the place of causing you to devalue who you are, you live life in a whole different atmosphere and manner. We're going to eradicate that tonight if you have not already healed from it or gone forth from it. That's part of what I want to do tonight. I think that, like I said, I believe that there's a reason. There's a distinct reason why it's just you and I today. There's a reason, all right? I have learned that things flow as they should. Not always as we want, but as they should, if we are aligned and submitted. I know that's an ugly word for you women, but submitted to our, submitted to our destinies, submitted to our destinies, all right? In being submitted to our destinies, then we have to be, I am. I'm gonna take my time. Okay, I'm not gonna rush. I got you. I got you. I'm hearing. My ear is attuned right now because I don't want to miss anything. When we're submitted to our destiny, not some preconceived notion of what somebody thought of you, but to our destiny, that for which we were created to attain. Okay, the purpose for which we are here, when we are submitted to that, then we will learn and recognize and understand our value. Because wrapped up and tied up in that is our purpose. Our destiny is only fulfilled if we're living out our purpose. And we can only live out our purpose to the fullness of what it was meant to be if we value ourselves. I'm gonna let that sit for just a moment. That's one of those, if you're a person of faith or if you're a Bible reader, you know that there are certain passages in there. And after the word has said, then there is a word that says, Selah. Selah says, stop. Think about that. Ponder on that for a minute. Don't just read over it. Don't just gloss over it. So I'm going to say it again because I really, really want you to understand. Now, I don't have a photographic memory. And as I said before, I teach by revelation. So I may word it just a little bit different, but I'm sure it will be the same impact of what I said a moment ago. All right. When you're submitted to your destiny, submission unto your destiny, then your perceived value of yourself will be higher because you will recognize and understand the purpose for which you were created has great value. I told you I wasn't going to say it exactly the same. I know I didn't. Okay. But I'm telling it to you as I'm hearing it. All right. The purpose for which you were created, has great worth and value. And that is what is tied into your destiny and how you progress forward in that destiny and in that journey. All right. Okay. All right. Hopefully we're on one accord right now. Put something in the chat. Let me know that we're tracking. Okay. We're tracking. I can't teach this any other way than from a faith perspective because that's who I am and that's how it's going to come out. I recognize that all of you are not of the same faith persuasion as I am, but please don't leave me. Hear me out. Perceive this in a manner that you can receive it. All right. This is one of those shows that I'm praying, yes, praying that when it's over, it will be such great food for thought for you that you have to Selah, that you have to sit back and ponder and think about it. How are you handling the value of your worth? Who you are. The sum total, the essence, the core, the thoughts, the physicality, the whole sum total of who you are, the package, whole thing, mind, body, and soul. How are you valuing yourself? Because remember, tonight we're talking about the value of your uniqueness. The value of your uniqueness. All right. So I was going on this rabbit trail about words. I don't forget. I always bring it back. All right. I'll chase the rabbit for a minute, but I will always come back. And I thank God for that. He'll always will me in and bring me back. So power of the words. All right. So again, possibly as a child, something was said to you. A word was spoken over you or to you, and it caused you to devalue the beauty in which you were created, the purpose in which you were created to fulfill. Let's go to the word value. Let's fully understand the weight of it. Because when you value something, you treat it differently. You treat it differently. So I'm going to go back. I know I started my story of when I was young. I know. I told you I will always come back to it. But I want you to understand the weight of the word value before we go further. Now, I told you I love words. Years ago, good gracious, y'all know I'm getting a lot older. I'm never gonna get old, but I'm getting a lot older. And when I start thinking back to back in the day, it's like I have to go back, all right? But probably, I want to say maybe not more than like 5 years or so after I gave my life to the Lord. I took on a new perception of the value of words. And I mean, because like I said, I've always liked words, but I really, really understood the weight and the power of words. I was introduced to the Noah Webster 1828 dictionary. And I don't even know how I came upon this dictionary, but I love this dictionary. So if I had been saved about 5 years, then that was about 32 years ago. Okay. And I said, when I'm getting to that place and that stage in life that when I start thinking back, I got to go way back. Okay. So I've been using this dictionary all that long. I don't use it all the time, but I can tell when there's something of great value and of weight that God wants me to investigate when we're talking about the words, because he will lead me to the 1828 dictionary. Now, I need you to understand the difference here. And I promise you, all of this will make sense to you because of the value that is placed on words, the value that you place on your life is caught up in how you perceive and how you understand the word. It's really that simple. All right. So let's look at value. Now, I'm going to look at value out of just Google. I don't even know if what oh okay, I'm sorry. The definition is from Oxford Languages. It's not even from the Webster Dictionary. It's from Oxford Languages. All right. The word value. And we're looking at it from the both the perception of the noun and of the verb. Okay. So, it gives me two definitions for value as a noun. The first one says the regard that something is held to deserve. It's interesting. The regard that something is held to deserve, okay? The importance, worth, or usefulness of something. Okay. The similar words to that is merit, worth, usefulness, use. Number two, a person's principles or standards of behavior, one's judgment of what is important in life. How do you value this? Is it important to you? Are you important to you? And then as a verb, it says the estimate, or no, not the, it says hello, estimate the monetary worth of something. Estimate the monetary worth of something. In other words, his estate was valued at da 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 da. Okay. So that's like evaluations, assesses, estimate. All right. And then number two, this is as a verb for value. Consider someone or something to be important or beneficial, have a high opinion of. So if I value your opinion, if I value your input in my life, then it means that I have a high opinion of you, or I have a high opinion of your value, of your opinion, yeah, of what you put into me, how you sow into my life. Okay. Webster's 1828 dictionary. Now, one of the reasons why I love the Webster 1828 dictionary is because Noah Webster, who was probably Merriam-Webster's great great grandfather or something, or great great uncle or something, I don't know. But anyway, they were related. But when Miriam started redirecting the dictionary, she took a lot of the value of the words from a faith perspective away. Noah Webster was a man of the cloth. And so in his dictionary, he gave weight to the words according to his faith, according to scripture, and actually has scriptures in the dictionary for, I would say, 95% of the words for you to really, really understand. All right. Let's see what Mr. Noah Webster says about value. Okay. Number one, worth. That property or those properties of a thing. Now, remember, not that the thing is the property, but the property or those properties of a thing. What makes that thing? That's what the properties are. Okay. Just so we understand, so we don't get off on another tangent about, oh, you calling me property. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. The property of those or the property or those properties of a thing which render it useful or estimable, or the degree of that property or of such properties. Okay, so to value is the degree of the properties that you possess. Who are you? Your properties make you up. Now, this is what I really liked. The real value of a thing is its utility, its power or capacity of procuring or producing good. That's value. All right. The real value of a thing is its utility, its power or capacity of procuring or producing good. That's what makes you valuable. Hence, the real or intrinsic value of iron is far greater than that of gold. Why is that? Because iron back then, we don't use iron like they used to, but back then, iron was productive. Iron was used to make trains and all kind of things and steamships, and iron had a greater value than gold, even though gold was pretty and it sparkled. What was its usefulness? You weren't going to make a gold car. You weren't going to make a gold train. What was its usefulness? What is your usefulness? That's how you're going to look at your value. Hence, the real or intrinsic value of iron is far greater than that of gold. But there is, in many things, an estimated value depending on opinion or fashion, such as the value of precious stones. The value of land depends on its fertility or on its vicinity to a market or on both. Now, let's go back. But there is in many things an estimated value depending on opinion or fashion, such as the value of precious stones. I needed you to hear that because, like I said, something may have been said to you, which was somebody's opinion of you, and you placed your value on what the opinion of that person said. You are so much more valuable than whatever those words that were said against you were. Stop rehearsing. Stop seeing yourself through a clouded lens and devaluing yourself. Worth applied to persons. This is in the dictionary. This is in Noah Webster's dictionary. It's number 3, worth applied to persons. He gave 2 scriptures to illustrate worth applied to persons. The first one, ye are all physicians of no value. Of no value. You are all physicians. Now, you know, this is King James English, right? Because 1828, all right? Ye are all physicians of no value. You know who said that? This is in Job 13 and 24, because all of his friends were giving him bad counsel. And he was like, you're physicians of no value. You have no value to me because you are not helping. You are not helping. Your words are not valuable to me because they don't hold weight. You're not helping. And then the other one, the polar opposite to that, is ye are more value than many sparrows. In other words, you are much more valuable than the sparrows that fly around in the air. That came from Matthew 10 and 31. So you understand. You understand. It's the perception of how you see yourself. So maybe you have red hair and freckles. And so because you have red hair and freckles, I just pulled that out of the air, y'all. So if you have red hair and freckles, this is really for you, right? But because you have red hair and freckles, you weren't blonde and blue-eyed like somebody in a fashion magazine said was the epitome of being. You devalued yourself. But you have red hair and freckles and you weren't blonde and blue-eyed. Who? Who established that blonde hair and blue eyes was the plumb line that we should be judged by? Please tell me. Who established, now I'm really going back, right? Because some of y'all probably have never even heard of this person, but who established that Twiggy back in the 60s? We're going way, way back, okay? that Twiggy was the epitome of the size that we should be as a woman. Twiggy was that big. Look her up. And she was the epitome of beauty back then, supposedly, according to somebody's opinion. So full-figured women were frowned upon. Voluptuous women were not called voluptuous. They were fat. They were ugly. They were overweight. They were obese. Why? Because somebody in their mind and in their opinion said Twiggy was how we were supposed to judge a woman's beauty. Y'all, we got to stop. We got to stop allowing the opinions of others to dictate how we value ourselves. Stop comparing yourself to this one, comparing yourself to that one. You don't look like that. You don't talk like that. You don't live like that. You don't. I had Mandy Merrifield on a few weeks ago, and we talked about her new book. And her new book was F the Fairy Tale, Create Your Own Magic. Okay. Somebody told you somewhere along the line that this was the fairy tale that you were supposed to aspire to. And so if you've not reached that place in the princess, the fairy tale, you have this and you have that and you've accomplished the other, then you're devaluing yourself. One person's fairy tale is another person's nightmare. I promise you. Seriously. You need to see yourself and value yourself according to the uniqueness that you were created to convey to this world. If we were all the same, think of how boring it would be. I don't want to be anybody else. I've never, now this is true, okay? I've never wanted to be anybody but who I was. Never. That's just me. And you know what? I think I'm kind of grateful to my mother because she may have enforced that in me. I can't tell you a specific conversation we had, but I can tell you that in the midst of being defiled by the words of others and devalued, because when you are spoken against and slandered and labeled certain things, you're being defiled. You're being defiled. And my mother was strong enough to cause me to insist, you keep that head up, that chin up. You don't buy into what people are saying. It doesn't matter. And here was my thing. So most of you know my story, or maybe this is the first time you've ever encountered me. I had my first child at 14. So needless to say, I was a trollop, I was a tramp, I was a hoe, I was, you name it, and they spoke it. Not one of them was going to pay for hospital, pay for doctor. And no, I wasn't on welfare. My mother paid for everything. She made sure that I kept my chin up and walked through it. And she didn't even know I was pregnant until I was 6 months. Okay. So after the shock of it all, she was my rock. And in being my rock, she taught me the value of, she had her own beauty salon. Picture this now, understand this. The words, the most damning words that were spoken about me back then and during that time were spoken in her salon. Now, I promise you, they didn't do it while she was there. You had to know my mama. Pistol packing Annie. She had a 38 police special Smith & Wesson that she called Betsy, and Betsy was with her everywhere she went. Okay, so trust me, they weren't saying it in her presence. But the moment she would walk out that door, then all the gossip meal was going, you know how beauty shops are. And it was always being said around somebody that knew me that would bring it back. Girl, so-and-so said such and such. Really? Now, for me, I got to a, I think the first time that I devalued myself, to be honest, now this is, we're being transparent. I still got 11 minutes. Okay. The first time that I devalued myself was the first time I had sex. I'm being really, really honest here and very transparent. So this is why I'm saying people are saying all these things about me and had no idea what I was walking through on my own, what the circumstances and the situations were. All right. I wanted to be a virgin on my wedding night. And because I was who I was, I wanted to wear the white veil at my wedding, and I wanted it to be real. I did not want to put a veil over my face because it represented your purity and you giving yourself to your man. I didn't want it to be fake and phony. I wanted to be a virgin on my wedding night. And I had a boyfriend that my mother allowed me to see for whatever reason. I really wasn't that into the person, to be honest. It's really sad. And he was 4 years older than I was, which probably is why my mother shouldn't have done what she did. But oh, she knew his parents, and we were all in Catholic school, and yada yada yada. Anyway, held him off for 6 months. I'm gonna be a virgin on my wedding night. I'm not doing nothing. Now you think about a 17, 16, 17-year-old boy, hormones is raging. I'm not trying to hear it. 6 months of this tug of war, right? And one night I gave in. I'm not going to even give you the whole story around that. It was, anyway, I gave in. It was peer pressure. Now, let me put that out there. It was peer pressure. So, watch your kids. All right. It was peer pressure. And in that instance, I devalued myself because that which I held most precious to me, I gave up. I gave up. Never looked at myself the same way after that. Never did. And so after the birth of my children, because 16, I had the second one, after the birth of my children, I went on this promiscuity tangent because I never valued myself the same way again after giving up that which was most precious to me. What we do has consequences. The choices we make have consequences. And then here it is, because I am upset with me over what happened. And then next thing you know, I'm pregnant. And then and it just blossoms. And then you're having all of these words being spoken. Okay. And so you're seeing yourself. Now, for me, and I've shared this before, I turned it around in my defense and said, if this is what people think of me, then I don't care what they think. And then I took on that mantle of bitterness. And now I'm just as bad as the other people because I'm spitting fire too. And I don't care how it hits you. So what came up, came out. I didn't care about people's feelings because I felt like, did nobody care about mine? So why should I care about theirs? So that had consequences as well. Now, fast forward, I gave my life to the Lord at 32, almost 33, 1 month before my 33rd birthday. And I learned that I was created in his image and in his likeness. And no matter what life had for me prior to that moment, it did not matter because now was my journey to being or getting back to who he originally created me to be. And the most profound statement that I heard in my transition to becoming who I was already created to be came from Dr. Miles Monroe. And I repeat this all the time because I'm praying that it will get in people's psyche when you hear it. He said, when you don't know the purpose of a thing, you will abuse or abnormally use it. And I didn't know my purpose. And because I didn't know my purpose, I didn't know my value. And because I didn't know my purpose or my value, I had abused and abnormally used me. Like I said, I went on that tangent of promiscuity. I went through the thing of the drugs. I went through all these different things because I didn't value me. So that's why this is so important to me, that I teach you the importance of valuing yourself. You were fearfully and wonderfully made. You are a pearl of great price. You're far more valuable than rubies. You are not to compare yourself to anybody else, because no one, I don't care if you have identical twins, quadruplets, quintuplets, sextuplets, however, I don't care how many of y'all may have shared the same womb. Each one of you was still fearfully and wonderfully made in your uniqueness. And there is no one, no one, no one can outdo you being you. No one. So stop devaluing yourself. Stop seeing yourself through the lens of somebody else's opinion. Stop comparing, because you're comparing apples to oranges when you start comparing yourself to somebody else. Because that's them and their journey and their purpose and their assignment and what they were called to do. Focus on yours. Focus on yours. Because it's monumental as well. And you don't have time to be worrying about everybody else when you're focusing on you. Please hear me. Please hear me. I don't have time to worry about the Joneses, because the Jameses got things to do. It has nothing to do with the Joneses. You got to understand that God, oh, I love that. I just looked down at a note and it said, but God never mass-produced purpose. He never mass-produced purpose. I love that. Your uniqueness is not a personality trait. It is strategic design. See, now, I haven't touched I haven't been in my notes at all, right? I got like 3 or 4 pages of them. This was just really what was in my heart. Your uniqueness is not a personality trait. It is strategic design. Strategic design. Okay? If your uniqueness wasn't valuable, the enemy wouldn't work so hard to suppress it. Because he only comes after that's valuable. I promise you. And he only has enough power and authority to do something with your value if you give it to him. Again, when you recognize your value, what you possess in being you, no one, no entity, nothing, no circumstance, nothing will cause you to devalue yourself, because you recognize and understand who you are. I'm going to give you a lioness lens really quick before we have to go, because, yeah. A lioness does not try to be another lioness. Try to be another lioness. Why? She understands her role in the pride and operates in it fully. Know who you are, and who you are is predicated on whose you are. The Creator crafted you strategically to be who you are. It's not quirky. It's not weird. It's personal. It's personal to who you were created to be. And it has great value and meaning in the lives of others. If you don't show up in the lives of others as your unique self and person, then you cannot fully carry out the assignment that God gave you for that person's life. Because they have a desire and a need for something that you possess that only you in your uniqueness can give them. All right, dang it. 44 minutes and 16 seconds on my stop clock here. I gotta go. Oh, this has been beneficial. I promise you I'll have a guest for you next week. You won't have to just hear me, but I pray that what I have delivered to you today, that it will cause you to look at yourself through a totally different lens, understand how truly valuable you are, and walk in it. walk in it. Head held high, shoulders square, and know that you were created for such a time as this in your uniqueness. I love you. Have an incredible week in the Lord, and I will see you next week.